Morena Trina, thank you for your time this morning. I'd love to explore as business owners and leaders, how can we incorporate Te Whare Tapawha into our workplace to support and protect mental health well-being at work?
Kia ora, Teresa. Yeah, look, great question. So Te Whare Tapawha essentially is a model for understanding Māori health and its concept around the four cornerstones or the four sides of Māori health specifically. So how you can build that into a business sense is around essentially if you can picture your whare or your house and that firmly planted or cemented into the foundations on the whenua or on the land. And essentially, you have four sides, and those four sides relate to us as human beings. And if one of those four sides is damaged, as you can imagine, with your home or your whare, if one side is damaged or falls down or is broken or something wrong with it, your whare is likely to fumble or fall or not be what you need it to be. And that's how we think about our perspectives in health. So the first side of the whare is our tinana, our physical health, uh, our wairua, as we come up into the roof, is our spiritual health. Our whānau is one side, and our family's health, and our hinengaro, our mental health. And if all of those four sides are strong and well, generally speaking, we are strong and we can achieve and perform well. If one side's not, then obviously we can address those so that we can excuse me, so that we can look at our whole selves as being well-beings. So if I think of that in terms of a business sense, your physical health, obviously most of us love to sort of get some form of physical exercise in, whether that be nice sort of walk in fresh air, or a rigorous exercise routine in a gym, or a game of rugby or footy or whatever that might look like. It's the capacity for physical growth and development. And if your organization can support your staff or support your people by offering them ways that they can incorporate, even just getting up from a desk and moving around every so often so that they're not stuck in a desk position, to getting outside and actually interacting in some form of physical form, we know that that supports our essence and shelters us from external environments and illnesses that might come in. Our spiritual health, our capacity for faith and or wider communication, our ability to interact with other people within the office, how we relate to those things that are unseen, whatever your deity that is that you might believe in, whether you the universe or some form of God or religion, your connection to that, and as a business. Supporting people and encouraging people to hold that spiritual connection to each other and to whatever form they might like to seek out. We know that produces a massive or influences your life beliefs and your value system. Family and Māoridom is massive. Whānau and whakawhanaungatanga, building those connections with other people. And this is our capacity to belong, our capacity to care and to share with individuals, whether they are in our actual immediate families or within our business family. So being able to have team interactivities, team fun things, that social interactions in your workplace, as well as doing the mahi, doing the hard work, but also even every so often taking time to recognize by doing some fun stuff can really feed and nourish people's whānau whānau vibe. The fourth side of the house is your hinengaro, and this is our mental health. And we all know how critically important this is for us. The capacity to communicate, to think, to feel, and to have that body sense of belonging, and all of those things for us are inseparable within our hinengaro. Your ability to move through and have aspirations for learning and succession within your organization, and really giving people the opportunity to voice their thoughts, Be okay with not maybe feeling 100% sometimes too, and allowing those emotions to be part of our day to day, and not criticizing or judging people for reacting or doing things slightly differently, if it makes them feel a whole lot more connected. If all of those four things are strong, then you're likely to have a really strong person, employee, leader, and therefore, hopefully, the influence on the business is a good one and a positive one.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
thank you. Stepping outside that model, what are the tikanga, so the values and kawa principles that businesses could apply to make a difference to workplace well-being?
Okay, so probably the biggest single most important value, Maori value for us is around, and it's quintessential with the way that most businesses operate, particularly Maori business anyway, is around whakawhanaungatanga, which simply means really to build and strengthen relationships. And relationships really for Maoridom are who we are, who people really are at the heart of the business. If you built a business model out, people would always sit in the middle, and everything else out from that. Partnerships would probably be next, which reflects that relationship piece. And the process of developing those relationships and doing it properly, from the start, is absolutely crucial for Māori, and it should be for any business really. Your people are the heart of everything. If you've got good people and you've got strong teams, and they are all in that waka, heading in the same direction, whatever your business goals may be, two, three, four, five goals, and they're all, rowing that waka in the same direction, you're going to have a massively strong business purpose, and sense of drive to thrive for your business. So, it's whakawhanaungatanga. Absolutely, 100% the strongest and biggest value that we have. There's a whole lot of tikanga practices and protocols that we would do in our own home that we would love to see, and if are incorporated into your business, it can be really, really strongly felt by everybody, particularly around, respecting your elders and respecting your leaders. um, Waiata and karakia are huge, and having the opportunity for staff to come together and practice those things in any formal setting or informal setting. Sorry. Another strong one that has been coming out a lot for me lately that I've been hearing is around kotahitanga and manakitanga, the ability to care and respect for others, manakitanga, uh, and unity. So kotahitanga is about sort of building that unified approach and leaving no one sort of behind. So not working in silos, really cross functional across teams to get that purpose to drive whatever it is that you're trying to drive towards together. And that's what those two are about: respecting other people's opinions, and going, yep, okay, I get where you are in your lane, and here I am in my lane. Let's try and merge these two lanes together, so that we can push forward with my skills and your skills, and we respect each other for the abilities and capabilities that we've got. Let's go forward and do it. Those three things for me would probably be the biggest that can influence a business in a really positive way.
It's interesting. I feel like more and more people are becoming aware of our cultural history. Why is it important to raise our awareness of Aotearoa's history?
I certainly didn't come out of school knowing about New Zealand's history, Aotearoa New Zealand's history. And I knew nothing about colonialisation. I didn't know about Te Tiriti or Waitangi and the back history. I didn't know there was a signing of an independence of declaration in 1835, which precedes Te Tiriti or Waitangi. Um, so more and more people are becoming familiar with our country's history. And when you learn and understand our past 500 to 1,000 years, you cannot fundamentally deny what Māoridom and Māori do and the Māori culture has within this country. It's a fundamental document that lays out pretty strongly where we've come from as a country and why it's really important now moving forward, if we care about Aotearoa New Zealand, why it is fundamentally important to start raising our own individual awareness and relationship with Māoridom. Yeah, as tangata whenua.
So, how does this positively impact for New Zealand business and our people of Aotearoa?
As more and more Māori and non-Māori come up through kura and kura kaupapa, their awareness and their expectation on businesses to have an affiliation, an affinity with te tiriti principles, being protection and partnership mainly, is becoming more and more. So we've got a very young generation. Māori are a very young generation and are coming through schools now and out into universities and through into the workforce, expecting much more of their employers. They're asking, "What can you do for me?" So for businesses, it's really important that they start to get their own sense of where they belong in relationship with te tiriti and te tiriti principles, and have some understanding themselves, because the younger generation of Māori and non-Māori are coming through asking the question, what is your inclusion and diversity piece look like? And are you someone that I can relate to in terms of the value system you have, in terms of the way that you speak and hold yourselves? Like, my expectations are pretty huge, and I expect that you know something about our Māori culture and our country's history and te tiriti o Waitangi. And therefore, as those expectations and those younger generations start to come through, in about 10 to 15 years time, the expectation on business will be that they understand and appreciate and respect it in some form. Equally, if you want to be trading or doing business with Māori, or Māori businesses, or iwi, it's really important that those non-Māori businesses and practices start to align themselves and at least have some knowledge of tikanga, of values, of the reo, because those Māori businesses, those iwi, are looking to align themselves with non-Māori businesses, with Pākehā businesses, who have an affinity with their culture. So it's fundamentally important. And moving forward, it's no longer going to be about, oh, I need to. It's not going to be about tokenism. It's going to be Māori looking and non-Māori too, looking for businesses that feel right for them, that feel like home.
I love that. It feels like home. And I do feel like it has moved or it is moving from tokenism to more so, and perhaps my experience, moving to more so comfortability, cultural comfortability.
Yeah, and moving forward now, it's about Māori taking responsibility for helping non-Māori to feel comfortable in these settings. It's no longer, it's not about creating a whole generation of experts, of Māori experts. It's about creating champions. It's about creating real champions, people that will, both Māori and non-Māori, that will go out and be comfortable in these settings. Cultural comfortability, perhaps, is the new term that we could come up with for businesses, and helping businesses to understand exactly how they can operate in a respectful and meaningful way in these environments that contributes to it all, without overstepping the mark or making them feel ashamed or awkward about their lack of understanding as well. So for us, here at the EMA, we now are looking at how can we help non-Māori businesses and Māori businesses, because there's a lot of Māori out there too that are struggling on this journey, of reclaiming their reo, reclaiming their culture, which comes with a whole lot of different pieces of trauma attached to it. But it's now about, let's create these worlds where people are comfortable to move and operate with an understanding, a respectful understanding of how Māoridom works and operates.
Kia ora. Thank you, Trina.
Thank you. Kia ora ki a koe. He manakitanga.